South Korea's Army, Naval, and Air Force academies came together for a joint commissioning ceremony on Friday. At the event, President Lee Jae-myung reaffirmed his commitment to further integrate the three service academies, underscoring the need for greater unity across the armed forces. North Korea claims to have convened a rare Workers' Party Congress, with leader Kim Jong-un highlighting what he called economic gains. Nearly 4 years since Russia began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the war shows no clear path to an end. Fighting continues along the front lines, while diplomatic efforts to broker peace have so far produced little tangible progress. We begin with a joint commissioning ceremony for South Korea's military cadets today, where President Lee Jae-myung delivered a commencement address, reaffirming his pledge to integrate the country's three service academies. Our Blue House correspondent Song Yoo-jin starts us off.
For the first time in nearly a decade, South Korea's Army, Naval, and Air Force academies held a joint commissioning ceremony on Friday. Standing before 558 graduating cadets, President Lee Jae-myung used his commencement address to underscore the need for greater jointness among the services.
급변하는 현대 안보 환경을 고려한다면 땅과 바다와 하늘 모든 영역에서의 긴밀한 협력과 통합된 작전 수행 능력은 필수입니다. 앞으로는 6회 공군 사관학교를 통합하여 미래 전장을 주도할 국방 인재를 더욱 체계적으로 양성할 것입니다.
Integrating the three academies was one of President Lee's campaign pledges aimed at strengthening the military's ability to conduct joint operations. The move is also intended to reduce the concentration of influence among Army Academy graduates, especially after several Korea Military Academy-trained officers were found to have played key roles in planning former President Yoon Suk-yeol's short-lived martial law declaration in 2024. The fact that this year's commissioning ceremony was held jointly for the first time since 2017 has fueled expectations that integration efforts could speed up. As Commander-in-Chief, President Lee touched on the importance of building a more advanced, self-reliant military, strengthening capabilities through cutting-edge technologies, and regaining wartime operational control from the United States. He further called on the newly commissioned officers to work to restore public trust, emphasizing that the military exists to serve and protect the people.
군의 지난 과오를 철저히 반성하고 전련하여 오로지 주권자인 국민만 바라보는 진정한 국민의 군대로 거듭납시다.
His remarks come as part of ongoing efforts to rebuild public confidence following the military's deployment to the National Assembly during martial law, when troops were sent to block lawmakers from voting to lift the decree. 송유진, Arirang News.
President Lee Jae-myung has promised to bolster support for science and engineering. Attending a commencement ceremony at KAIST on a Friday, he was critical of the R&D budget cuts by the previous administration and touted his government's expansion of the basic research budget by more than 17% this year. He promised to build a robust safety net where no scientist has to abandon their research due to a lack of funding. The president noted the school's newly created College of AI will serve as a key foundation in making South Korea one of the world's top 3 AI powerhouses. Now, more than 3,000 students graduated from the nation's leading tech school on Friday. North Korea has opened its 9th Congress of the ruling Workers' Party. Over the coming days, the gathering is expected to lay out economic and policy priorities for the next 5 years, with international attention also fixed on whether leader Kim Jong-un will signal a future role for his daughter. An Sung-jin reports.
North Korea began the 9th Congress of the ruling Workers' Party of Korea on Thursday. According to its state media, the Korean Central News Agency, on Friday, the Congress, the regime's most significant political event, opened in Pyongyang. In his opening address, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said he is filled with optimism and confidence about the future. He said that compared to the situation 5 years ago at the previous party Congress, North Korea had irreversibly consolidated its national status and brought about significant changes in the global political landscape. Kim's speech did not mention the United States, South Korea, or the North's nuclear capabilities, but rather focused on economic issues. Kim stressed that the party is working on boosting economic development and improving people's livelihoods through regional development policies and rural reform programs. A notable change from the previous Congress is a generational shift in the executive body leadership. Most of Kim's close aides have retained prominent positions, but 59% of the executive body have been replaced. Senior figures including Kim Yong-chol have been removed, and instead Foreign Minister Choi Sun-hee and Defense Minister No Kwang-chol have been added to the executive body. Foreign Minister Choi has been one of the most prominent voices in Pyongyang's redefining of inter-Korean relations as those between two hostile states. Meanwhile, attention is also focused on whether Kim's daughter Kim Joo-ae will be formally designated as his successor. Her appearances at major state events allegedly have been building up her public profile since late last year, potentially hinting at an elevated status.
Of North Korea's political system, which is very similar to a theocracy, leader's gender does not really play a large role because the members are basically deities, not humans. So it is totally up to what Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un is going to decide.
The party Congress may clarify her future status within the regime. The Congress agenda includes reviewing the work of the party's Central Committee, revising party rules, and electing central leadership bodies. Around 5,000 delegates are attending the Congress, with 224 members from the central party bodies and 4,776 representatives elected from regional units. In North Korea, where the ruling party governs all state institutions, the Party Congress is the highest decision-making body and is expected to set domestic and foreign policy directions for the next 5 years. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Nearly 4 years after Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the war shows a little sign of ending. As battles continue along the front lines, diplomatic efforts to secure peace have yet to yield meaningful progress. Jung Hae-rim tells us more.
Before February 2022, 47-year-old mother of two Tetiana Himian was a ballroom dance instructor in the Donetsk region. Her days were filled with international competitions and teaching children. However, she was forced to abandon her career, and today she's a sniper in Ukraine's 78th Air Assault Regiment.
Life goes on. This is our life, and this is our choice, but a choice made within the realities we found ourselves in. We are ordinary people who simply ended up in extraordinary circumstances, but now it feels almost impossible to return to the life we had before.
Not only for Tetiana, but for millions of Ukrainians, there is no going back. Combined casualties for both nations are on track to reach 2 million by this spring, according to a new study by the Center for Strategic and International Studies. The data reveals nearly 1.2 million Russian troops and close to 600,000 Ukrainian troops have been killed, wounded, or are missing. Meanwhile, efforts to end the war through diplomacy continue. Talks between Russia, Ukraine, and the United States aimed at ending the war have ended without a breakthrough, with the latest round in Geneva lasting just 2 hours on Wednesday. Following a halt in U.S. war funding, the Trump administration has launched a diplomatic campaign to force both sides to the table.
Parties, both sides agreed to update their respective leaders and to continue to work towards a peace deal together. So there will be another round of talks in the future, but I think the president views this entire situation as very unfair, not just for Russians and Ukrainians who have lost their lives, but also for the American people and the American taxpayer who were footing the bill for this war effort before.
Washington is reportedly urging Ukraine to consider territorial concessions, including a possible demilitarized zone in the heavily fortified Donetsk region. But Kyiv warns that giving up land without firm security guarantees would allow Moscow time to regroup and launch another invasion. As the war approaches its 4th anniversary, Ukraine's future remains uncertain. With peace talks stalled and fighting ongoing, millions like Tetiana continue to live a reality shaped by war, with no clear return to the past. Jung Hae-rim, Arirang News.
Rising trade tensions with Washington from U.S. tariff threats fallout over the Coupang investigation are stoking concern in Seoul that vital security talks with the U.S. could be jeopardized, with Washington yet to confirm its delegation for those discussions. Oh Soo-young has more.
Concerns are growing in Seoul that trade issues with the United States are slowing crucial security negotiations. Last November's Korea-US joint fact sheet tied together economic and security tracks, a $350 billion investment into the US, and follow-up talks on nuclear-powered submarines and broader nuclear cooperation, including uranium enrichment and spent fuel reprocessing. Security discussions were expected to begin early this year, with a US delegation to visit Seoul by early March. But President Donald Trump has since threatened to raise reciprocal tariffs on Korean exports from 15% to 25%, pushing Seoul to speed up legislation on implementing US investments. At the same time, tensions have widened to the digital sector, with e-commerce giant Coupang emerging as a flashpoint. Amid a probe into the US company by Korean authorities over its user data leak last year, the US House Judiciary Committee has subpoenaed Coupang Korea's acting head Harold Rogers, with lawmakers accusing Korean authorities of targeted attacks.
So this digital focus is pretty in line, frankly, with the Trump administration's earlier approach to grab a hold of all of these aspects to lean into this America First framing. That's the dynamic that kind of hoists up Trump's overarching trade agenda. And we can see that in this projection of a so-called American company facing discrimination from this foreign power. That's the framing that the Trump administration is leaning into and has far before this Coupang controversy.
Seoul officials say the Coupang issue should be left out of formal government talks. But experts believe the Trump administration will keep raising the issue of non-tariff barriers.
That is something that Jameson Greer and Howard Lutnick and all of these different factions are on the same page about. There's an America First sort of covering through all of this that they're perceiving South Korea and their different trade negotiating partners with that is pretty consistent, while they do take pains to reiterate that the final decision is ultimately up to Trump.
With pressure on the trade track, National Security Advisor Wi Sung-lak has expressed concern that the repercussions are spreading into the security side. In fact, US State Secretary Marco Rubio told Foreign Minister Cho Hyun that the mood in Washington is not good, appearing to hint that tariff issues must ease before security talks proceed. As of Thursday, the Foreign Ministry says the US has not confirmed members of its security delegation. For now, Seoul has sent a working-level trade team to Washington this week. Internally, the government last week launched a temporary task force to coordinate US investment matters and tariff negotiations as Parliament works to pass the US investment bill by early March. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
Blackpink's Rosé and Bruno Mars' collaboration track Apatu is the best-selling track of 2025 globally, after garnering more than 2 billion streams. That is, according to the International Federation of the Photographic Industry, which also said it's the first time that the chart has been topped by a non-European or North American artist, and also the first time the top track included non-English lyrics. Closely in second, and what was described as one of the most competitive years in the chart's history, was Golden by HUNTR, the animated girl group from the Netflix film K-pop Demon Hunters. The IFPI has been publishing the annual list since 2007. A new girl duo blending traditional Korean elements with modern music made its debut just a month ago, bringing a fresh new sound to K-pop. Our culture correspondent Park Ko-nu has the story.
Surpassing 10 million views for their debut music video within a month, the fresh new duo dodree is drawing global attention for incorporating traditional Korean elements into their music while weaving traditional dance into their performances to create a lyrical and dreamlike atmosphere.
At first, it might feel unfamiliar or even difficult, but the charm, emotion, and energy of traditional Korean music can go beyond language. By blending it with more familiar genres, we wanted to make it easier for listeners to approach.
The name dodree reflects that mission, as it's a combination of the traditional rhythmic pattern dodree 장단 and the word free, reflecting their ambition to transcend genre boundaries through traditional sound. Youngju has trained in traditional Korean narrative singing pansori since the age of 3, coming from a third-generation family of traditional musicians, making the transition to dance an even greater challenge for her.
아리랑 스리랑 하라리가 났네 아리랑 하라리가 났네.
Wow.
I've been singing my whole life, so dancing while singing was my biggest challenge. But practice is the only answer. I want to become a role model who makes others feel that challenges don't have to be feared.
And Songhyun, who majored in traditional Korean dance, hopes to incorporate even more traditional styles into their performances.
Since this kind of music has no fixed answer, finding the right direction is our biggest task. I hope to become an artist who brings both charisma and joy on stage, one day incorporating traditional dance elements, such as drum performances, like Tangu dance.
And it seems to be resonating globally as the duo says more global fans are engaging with them online, with some even calling them the real-life version of HUNTR.
Some said they burst into tears watching our performance. That made me feel that emotion can be truly delivered despite language differences. Like in K-Pop Demon Hunters, just as K-culture blends naturally into the story, we hope to let the beauty of traditional Korean music blend naturally into K-pop.
Looking ahead, they say they hope to collaborate widely, even naming BTS, while expressing interest in exploring R&B and jazz. Despite their bold artistic direction, their goals remain grounded.
My goal is to always do my best with consistency, values that are emphasized strongly by JYP. My biggest goal is to not lose myself as I continue this journey.
With humility guiding their journey, dodree is just beginning, bringing tradition into the future of K-pop while expanding the boundaries of the K-pop scene. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
The number of visitors to the National Museum of Korea surpassed 1.15 million in just the first 2 months of the year. According to the museum on Friday, visitor numbers surpassed from January 1st to February 18th, rose 38.9% compared to the same period last year, fueling expectations that total annual attendance could once again surpass 6 million. Visitor numbers are likely to climb further later this month, as the museum will offer free admission to the special exhibition, The Great Admiral Lee Sun-shin, on February 25th and on March 1st. The museum will also host a collaborative event celebrating the release of Blackpink's new mini-album, Deadline. A renowned composer, Soo-chul, known for decades of musical innovation, is now translating sound into color with his first major solo art exhibition, showcasing paintings that visualize his sound paintings. Our Do Young-eun has more.
A vast black and white canvas captures the imagined sounds on distant planets. Sonic Genesis 30 and 31 reveal Soo-chul's surreal universe. In that other dimension, paint flows in every direction, with dark masses like black holes observing intense energy.
It doesn't stop with our world. Looking at the night sky, I grew curious about other planets, what they're like and what they sound like. So I imagined visiting them and I expressed those sounds and feelings.
On textured blue backgrounds, bold red circles burst outward, as if sound itself is vibrating through paints. The Sonic of Blue series layers sweeping blue brushstrokes to express the vitality of nature. His paintings span a spectrum from the sound of buds sprouting to emotions like sorrow and joy, and the metallic tones of distant planets.
I listened to conversations, the sounds of the world, distant sadness and joy, the sounds of dreams, and the living sounds of nature, and I painted the feelings of what I heard.
Nicknamed the Little Giant, Kim has shaped Korea's music scene for nearly half a century, from pop to traditional Korean music or 국악. His curiosity about the roots of Korean sound eventually led to his dedication to Korean music. He served as music director for 1986 Asian Games, the 1988 Summer Olympics, and the 2002 FIFA World Cup, bringing the spirit of Korean sound to global audiences.
We're working to make our traditional sounds more accessible to modern people, to bring Korean traditional music closer to everyday life and popularize it. We will continue modernizing and integrating our traditional sounds into daily life.
Kim continues to redefine artistic expression, now expanding his practice through sound paintings. Kim Soo-chul's Colors of Sound exhibition runs through March at Seoul Art Center. 조영은, Arirang News.
Hello and welcome. I am your AI sports correspondent Arirang. This section features AI-generated content and scripts, bringing you the latest news from the Olympic Winter Games Milano-Cortina 2026. Here are our top stories. South Korea's women's curling team fell short of the Olympic semi-finals following a 10-7 defeat against Canada on Friday. Despite 3 points in the third end and 2 points in the ninth, the squad could not overcome Canada's 4-point haul in the sixth end. This result left South Korea with a 5-4 record, placing the team fifth in the overall round-robin standings. The team missed the semi-finals after the United States defeated Switzerland in an extra and to secure the final playoff position. South Korean figure skaters Lee Hae-in and Shin-ja recorded their highest scores of the season during the women's single free skate on Friday at the Milano Ice Skating Arena. Lee Hae-in earned a total of 210.56 points, surpassing her previous seasonal high by around 8 points. Shin-ja posted a personal best free skate score of 141.02 points, resulting in a combined total of 206.68 points. Despite a fall during a triple loop, Shin successfully concluded her debut Olympic performance and said she is now focused on the 2030 Winter Games. South Korean short track icon Choi Min-jung is ready to make Olympic history on Saturday in Milan. The queen of short track is chasing her third consecutive gold medal in the women's 1,500-meter event. No skater in history has ever won 3 straight titles in a single individual race. A victory would also make Choi the most decorated South Korean Olympian of all time with 7 career medals. However, she faces a tough challenge from her teammate and world number 1, Kim Gi-lee. The world will be watching as Choi goes for the Triple Crown early Saturday morning. South Korean speed skater Jung Jae-won is shifting focus to his main event, the men's mass start on Saturday in Milan. After a solid 14th place warm-up in the 1,500-meter on Friday, the 2022 silver medalist says he has fully adjusted to the Olympic ice. Jung believes his superior cornering technique will be his secret weapon against the field. He faces a high-stakes battle against American star Jordan Stoltz, who is hunting his 4th medal. While acknowledging Stoltz's explosive speed, Jung is confident his tactical precision can deliver the gold. The final is set for 12:40 a.m. on Saturday Korea time. Before we head out, let's look ahead. Appearing now on your screen are the current medal standings and the upcoming schedule for the Olympic Winter Games Milano-Cortina 2026.
Spring is making a big entrance this week, even though it was a frosty start this morning, with temperatures dipping below freezing in many areas. Thanks to plenty of sunshine, it warmed up quickly. Afternoon temperatures climbed up to 13 degrees Celsius in Seoul, 15 degrees in Cheongju, and 17 degrees in Kimcheon, a good 2 to 8 degrees above average for this time of year. Tomorrow will feel even more like spring. Seoul will start the day at 5 degrees and jump to 17 degrees in the afternoon, which is about 7 degrees warmer than normal. Down south, daytime highs will get up to nearly 20 degrees, making it feel more like April than early spring. Tomorrow morning, most areas will start off with above freezing temperatures. Highs will rise to 16 to 19 degrees all over the country. Rain is forecast across much of the country from early Sunday morning through the afternoon. After many wonderful years, this is my final broadcast. Thank you for inviting me into your homes and sharing your time with me. It's truly been an honor. Thank you for everything and goodbye.
That's all we have for tonight. I'm Kim Dami. From all of us here at Arirang, thanks for watching and good night.